that is now a little bit damp. Kind of dab that off on the back of my hand and get our handy 3-panel mirror and just dip into this concealer, which is very, very light. I think this is the lightest color of concealer that they have that isn't a corrector. We tried that white corrector yesterday. Whether you should also highlight your chin because he has all that beard in the way. So I don't know if he just doesn't think about it, or it certainly isn't something that he puts on himself. You know, for the COVID reasons, I appreciate him kind of focusing his makeup process on himself for the sake of making these videos. I'm sure he has clients even in the COVID times, but you know, it can be risky. You know, I've been hearing from people at work talking about, you know, who was infected. You know, they do try to protect people's privacy, but it's alarming because, you know, there's just people who've been, shall we say, not the most careful and not the most honest when it comes to their COVID prevention and whether they're actually vaccinated. I think in New York, they had arrested, I don't know if it's New York City or New York State, they had arrested a couple of nurses who had like $900,000 in cash in the house from selling fake vaccine cards. And one of them was married to an active duty NYPD officer. I don't know if he's a sergeant or anything like that, but you know, that kind of tells you what's going on in these streets. There's been a discussion about highlighting the, you know, above the jawline and below the cheekbone, right? There's been a discussion about taking a line of highlighter outside the corner of the mouth. And this is the most random brush, you know, underpainting, trying to use the last little bits of this very fair concealer. You know, we got it down the center of our nose, we got it in the center of our forehead. I think this concealer has a nice finish. Even though the color is dusty, the finish is not dusty. We're just trying to use this white color to hopefully strengthen our very weak chin. You know, but you know, I'm not mad at the finish, and it doesn't give me the amount of creasing that I suffered when I used the NYX eyeshadow base in white. That product is not a friend to me. You know, I hesitate to kind of throw things away, but you know, that product would have me out here looking hella silly. And that's not something that we want. Not in 2022. You know, how's everything in your world? You know, I've been watching with interest what our friend Luscious Massacre has been doing with her lives and with her channel, and our other friend Chime Philly. I always get his name wrong, but you know, I think it's all worthy dialogue, right? We can all do our best and all get feedback to do better as my chair continues to lower itself. Yeah, I think it's time to replace Mr. Chair. But, you know, I was, I guess, thinking to myself, like, oh, well, maybe that's why Luscious did not want us to go watch Chime Philly, because he was talking about Miss Luscious joking about having an Aunt Jemima moment, right? And we know how some of our fellow brown people can enjoy being, shall we say, if not racist, then white adjacent, right? It's like, you know, in school when people are like, oh, just kidding, or it's a joke, or, you know, when it's not a, but as long as it's at the expense of someone that people feel is lower rung than them, or, you know, they can kiki and feel superior, you know, that was disappointing. But, you know, we get this from a whole bunch of different people, right? Clowning other people of color from slavery. I'd have to watch it and listen to it again, but it was very much scandalous, very much disappointing. You know, I don't think it inhibits our ability to appreciate Luscious Massacre and her storytelling and her makeup artistry, but I was surprised. I wasn't aware of that, and it kind of puts her kindness, I won't say friendliness, but her kindness toward Jeffree Star, which is kind of newfound, in a different light. that, you know, people are always looking for, I guess, angles for fame, right? Reasons that they should be either connected to someone's clout or celebrity. Is this focusing appropriately? You know, I get it. I get the struggle. I respect, you know, Chime Philly, Shelby E, Rich Lux, everyone, you know, and anyone who's struggled with, you know, having said words and had thoughts and interactions that were less than kind to part of their audience. Like, everyone can learn and grow and apologize and all of that. So that's no worry. But, you know, it does put the, you know, kind of chill effect that I think Luscious's concerns about Chime Philly had. It puts it in a different light. They definitely know that there were things that she would prefer not to be exposed. Is that the word? The Aunt Jemima and the Jeffree Star stuck up moment, and the, you know, kind of framing drag as being not for, as for some people and not for other people. It was just a little, it was a little uncool. I'll put it like that. But in any case, you know, I've had a back and forth about this butter blush from Physicians Formula. It looks so pretty and it smells so good. Look at my chair making its escape. But I figured maybe it's something I should hang on to as a transition color, right? Maybe, maybe not. Is it going to ruin this beautiful palette? Should I use this beautiful palette in its pure form? You know, caught up in commenting, but let's concentrate. There is no mirror in this palette, right? And we have our little handheld mirror. And now let's pick a brush that will create some sort of base color on the lid. I guess we could use the same brush. Maybe there's mango, there's peach, there's drizzle. I guess we have to go with mango because our skin is a very yellow skin. Maybe that'll be a decent like transition or lid color. So using that same brush and looking at our lid and just stroking that just slightly above our natural crease. Thinking about making a gesture that goes up and creates space and a base for an outer corner color, and also, you know, some layering on of shimmer. And there's some beautiful green shimmer called kiwi that looks delicious, and it does look like kiwi. But this is looking pretty. It's definitely looking yellow. It's almost as if I hadn't primed my eye at all and it's just my natural skin color. Not quite, but almost. But yeah, you know, I don't know. We've all heard it before, accountability. We've all heard it before, you know, racist comments and jokes that people think are oh so clever and funny. And it is hard to, you know, not have writers. Everyone who performs on YouTube mostly has to write their own material. And a lot of it is extemporaneous. And maybe, you know, she lives around people, I don't doubt it, in Texas who think that sort of thing is funny. And, you know, again, when I do work on set, there's always a struggle that you have a notion called above the line and below the line, right? Above the line is writers, actors, producers, right? And everyone else who is not that is below the line. And it's a pecking order. It affects, you know, when people are able to eat food even, right? And sometimes during COVID, it affects who is able to use what bathroom, right? If you can imagine, right? Because there is a health justification for it, right? There's a notion of zone A and zone B and what zone can be on set when actors and, you know, primary cast are on set, who can approach and go to Video Village and all of that. And, you know, it does make me sad to hear that Luscious had not the best experience in Hollywood. You know, Luscious is still alive, so we know that she didn't get the very worst of Hollywood, because a lot of our homies who try to live and work here don't make it, right? There's a real culture of not only drug and alcohol use. But the flip side of that is trauma, right? That there really are people here who are trying to, it's not as simple as, oh, sorry, my chair is a struggle. It's not as simple as, oh, I'm talented, I'm gonna go to work, right? I'm not, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna, meet people and network and do my job and blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is. There are people here who have a taste for, dangling celebrity and manipulating people, for dangling access to opportunities in exchange for whatever. And a lot of people will do anything to be down, right? Drugs, alcohol, illicit liaisons, that sort of thing. And, the people kind of who are dangling whatever kind of treasure know that, right? So the moment will come where it becomes clear that it was always a hustle. There wasn't a sincere relationship, and the relationship was always kind of lather, rinse, repeat. Here's a lesser brush from some brand called Jesse's Girl, but let's give it a whirl, right? So if this is our yellow and this is our transition color and we're trying to be in this fruity smoothie place, what is the right outer corner color on a yellow? So is it this peach or should we go watermelon, right? What's going to look good with this bright kiwi shade? And then there's an actual bright yellow. Maybe we should go for watermelon and get that kiwi on and then just see what's what. It might look crazy. I'm guessing it will. But we're here to experiment, in honor of Luscious Massacre being, the subject of the moment. I don't think she should be upset about that. I don't think she should be worried about, having her own words and actions and deeds brought up, right? It's interesting, right? At least it's more interesting than, other topics of gossip and drama that seem to manufacture controversy, right? To see yet another Trisha Paytas, kind of dipping back into the controversy about multiple, I guess it's multiple personality disorder, DID, something like that. You know, there's a world of Google, there's a world of doctors, there's a way that she can take advantage of those resources, and I find it quite tiresome, especially to hear her self-diagnoses and, kind of guesswork. And, that there are like children and younger people on this platform listening to her speculation. It's just not good. It's not cool. It's not necessary. It's not responsible. I wish I could fix this chair. But I don't hate this. It definitely looks dramatic. It definitely looks like watermelon. I wish I had some watermelon right now. It doesn't look absurd with this yellow underneath. It's just kind of giving you orange at the corners. And again, I'm trying to think about a lifted shape. Let's do the other side. This brush is not the worst. It definitely cost $1. I know where I got it. I heard Luscious talking about fairest. We definitely have that in California. And it's like, you can get makeup for $1. You can get makeup there for, itchy. You can get makeup there for 25 cents. And I have. And it is some of the most disappointing makeup I've ever gotten. That's just like powder. Like, it looks like makeup and it's like, it's like for children. Like, when you're a child and you get like lipstick with your Barbie playset and it looks like lipstick. It's like a little plastic tube with a pink thing in it. And you're like, oh, lipstick. And there's no color payoff because it's not real. I see what this is. It's like hairs from the brush. But yeah, I'm brushing this on when, again, hooded eye, I should be stamping it on. Stamping it on in the shape for more color payoff, right? All that stuff about, small circles and windshield wiper, that is better for an eye that is not a hooded eye. That is something that I have learned and I've experimented with. And it really, for me, it definitely is a technique that is better, at establishing the shape and color that I want. Now, I'm no expert. This is just me. I'm going to put this brush down, and then we're going to get into this green, right? We need a tiny kind of paddle brush, and we need to lay it down. Well, this one's not tiny, but it is a e.l.f. Professional kind of patting shimmer on the eye kind of brush. We're going to go for it with this shimmery kiwi. Bam! It's either going to go terrible wrong or terrible right. Theory being to create light in the inner 2/3 of the hooded eye and stamp that from the inner corner on over. It's not as saturated as I might have guessed on my skin. Even with this white concealer as a base, it's reading more yellow, kind of greenish yellow. But it looks very exotic. There's a school of thought that says to wet your glitters or shimmers to get more color payoff, but I don't hate this. It does look kind of like fantasy. It looks kind of fantastic. I'm not going to what is it? Political fundraiser in this. Nope. But yeah, I mean, just about Luscious's experience working in Hollywood, you know, the fact that she was able to get on set, is it Jimmy Kimmel or whatever other opportunities, those are legitimate opportunities and jobs. It's not like she got here and was doing like rinky-dink projects for no name. You know, maybe she did do that as well, but there's a whole world of non-union, not on set, not connected to big companies work where, you know, people don't want to pay you, you know, and coming from the YouTube space, which can be union, but usually is not. That's why people are able to employ their children and all those family channels and, you know, swing people around in Utah or whatever they did to that poor child who was out there with David Dobrik swinging on some kind of heavy equipment that may have damaged his brain. You wouldn't get that if you were working on a union set with required insurance and all of that. Let me not go crazy and start smearing this all around. Just putting it under the inner 1/3 of the eye. And I don't think I should put another kind of highlighter in the inner corner. I've smeared this white all over the face. I feel like I should use a clean, fluffy brush. This looks like a Jeffree Star brush, but it doesn't say Jeffree Star, right? I don't understand. Why does this one have a label and the other one does not? But I guess we'll use it since it looks exactly the same. Do I have Jeffree Star brushes? I do. Am I going to get rid of them? I'm not. I appreciated his scandal and the low, low price that I was able to get those brushes for. But at the same time, we have to stay, as they say, woke. We have to know who we're dealing with, right? It's like being in a relationship. You don't want to not know that the person is a liar or an abuser or anything of that sort. You want to be informed because you don't want to get surprised, right? Before you know, commit to buying their merch or commit to buying their makeup line or their brushes. You at least want to know what's going on, because otherwise you might make a fool of yourself and, you know, other people will judge you. Maybe we can get a little bit of this color drizzle underneath the eye. This is not the tiniest brush, but we'll see what happens, because then we're going to put on some contour and some blush, and then we need to get in the kitchen and make some, it's kind of like a baked brie, right? You can use like a good bread. You don't have to put it inside a pastry. You can do that if you're serving a lot of people, but you know, just doing a little something for camera, and also just, you know, experimenting with this new palette. We don't want to be just having this collection of makeup. So yeah, I think that this, given what this color story is, I don't think that this blush in this kind of like shimmery pale lilac powder color, plum rose, I struggle. I need it here, but I need it to go. And I'd feel better if I were able to give it to someone. But, you know, this is a very bright and happy little palette. But yeah, so next, what are we doing? We're having, maybe we'll work with this Derma blend again, but we should put on some more serious contour, right? Kind of feeling like a stick contour, just for speed. Should we take stick contour and maybe use a brush? Yesterday we experimented with some contour that wasn't dark, 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 dark. And we do like the drama of the dark, 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 dark. You see on TikTok when they draw the dark line outside their lips, which I think is really ridiculous. But if you really watch, they then come in and cover that up. So I think it's a gimmick. I don't think that they're really letting that live there. I think they're putting that line around their lips so that, you know, it's that Kylie Jenner kind of sleight of hand. Like, oh, look, this lip liner and lip gloss gave me big lips. It's like you missed a part where you went to someone in a doctor's office. So a little line, right? Carefully on the nose as my chair scoots down. A little line. This honestly could be cooler in tone, but we'll try to make it work. But then, haha, Luscious Massacre, I too will paint out my jawline, right? In an aggressive fashion, right? Really making that face shorter and painting out that neck. The other thing you have to watch out for when you do all this craziness is getting these products on your clothes. I really do recommend having a big scarf, a big silky scarf where you can cover your whole face and neck and get your clothing on and off, because you're not wanting to, you know, some of these products can be very, very hard to get off. What will be the right brush with this? We want something that will rub it in. Is this a silicone sponge moment? Hold on, let me raise this chair again. Because what will happen is I will be down there and then the focus will be very much off, you know. But yeah, we have our silicone sponge. We're gonna stroke this product up toward the hairline and thereby have a gradient effect around the highlighting we did earlier, right? Any absurd contrast, we can work it out with our Derma Blend foundation, right? Up toward the sky, up toward the hairline, right? Up toward the sky, up toward the hairline, right? Some people take the line down like that, right? Giving a little sculpty sculpt to the chin area, right? Making that white come forward and making it seem like we have a jawline, like a 70s action star. You know, are we Burt Reynolds? Are we, I don't know, James Caan, who's the father of Scott Caan, who's been on, what is it called? Hawaii 5-0. There was a controversy a few years ago because Asian cast members wanted pay parity with, you know, some people who, you know, have a different level of career, primarily because they have parents, you know, who were a bigger deal or a bigger name than some of these, you know, younger, more ethnic actors. And, you know, I think that some of them, if not all of them, ended up leaving the show, which didn't seem very sporting. But, you know, again, there's something about being not black, but being a person of color. So wanting the perks of being diverse or looking like you actually would be native to Hawaii, but then, the price of being from a non or less activist community and not really being able to effectively protest that kind of, I guess it's discrimination, differential treatment. You know, I think their reps took a stand and they took a stand and then they ended up having to leave the show. Whereas it puts your relationship with protesting and suing. I think there's a gentleman suing the NFL right now for not really having any significant number of coaches that are the same ethnicity as, I'm guessing, the majority of the players. So you see those things go on. You wonder to yourself, like, there's the go along, get along end of the spectrum, and then there's the more sort of activist, protesty, Colin Kaepernick, whoever this NFL lawsuit person is, end of the spectrum. And you do wonder, what is as a worker, as a person, what is the best, most responsible route? You know, we think about Luscious Massacre and, her willingness to make jokes about, black people who, historically lived in slavery and kind of, in a way, distance herself from that colonialist experience. And that has problems and errors, right? Like, just the piece of it being racist is one thing, but it's like, you think about was it a stupid remark made on the fly? Is this part of an ongoing philosophy in her life that she feels that being of her heritage makes her better and more white adjacent and more able to poke fun at, racial injustice? I don't know. The makeup is still fire, right? Just like Jeffree Star's brushes are still fire. But, we can't not point out these problems to these people, because how else are they going to learn, right? Else are they going to learn to be very careful what they say when they make jokes of that nature, and be very careful when, they want to, I guess, suck up to certain, more racist or intolerant communities to try to be on, right? Or racist or intolerant people to try to be on, right? I haven't heard Shangela come out and make any comments about Luscious and her racial animus. Will she? I don't think it's her responsibility to, but those of us who enjoy her, story times and makeup stylings, we looking, we thinking about it. We're trying to figure out, what's the tea, sis? Like, what you trying to say? Where were you during Black Lives Matter protests? What's the story, right? People who live in Texas often, have some different thoughts and ideas about things, right? About history and racism and, makeup and all of that. I just happen to have, as a person of Black Indigenous descent, a skin tone that's closer to Luscious Massacre than to other kinds of beauty gurus. So I go where I can find help, because as you see, I need it, right? I'm trying to do what I do, and I'm trying to learn and be better at it, because these days we don't want people on set. If we don't have to let them touch us and breathe on us, we don't want to, because those are often people who are getting infected. You know, we're still out here struggling with the Omicron, and jobs are still getting canceled. And, my friends texted me from set today, and people are testing positive, and people have been handing in, what is it, fake vaccine cards. And, people are trying to say, like in Denmark, that it ain't no problem and you don't have to have restrictions and no masks and all that. And I watch, I look, I see the people on the on the YouTube, out at the gym, out at dinner, no mask on, no nothing. And you know, some of them are clickbaiting and claiming that now this looks a mess, but we got our fat beauty sponge here to try to save the day. So we're just gonna tap that at any places that look especially crazy. We're trying to create a frame for this exciting eye makeup, right? We're trying to have that underpainting of highlight and that underpainting of contour live, but we're trying to get rid of that powdery lip and get rid of the fibers that are dancing and tickling our face from that cheap Jesse's Girl brand brush that we got at fairest. But you know, I do have higher end brushes that are stowed away, but I wanted to practice and learn the technique and really be in a better place with my, you know, sort of plan of highlight, contour, foundation, right? And starting to experiment with doing my eye makeup before, right? And it does look a little better, right? I regret wasting product and kind of, you know, taking it off my face with the sponge, but, you know, to watch Wayne Goss today, he really was, you know, talking about patting and sort of placing powder on the skin and knowing that you're going to put too much on and rub it off. Not baking exactly, but something that definitely seems to plan on waste, right? And it's hard for me to aspire to wanting to waste product. So what kind of liner can we get into? We have some lip liners I got a bunch of lip liners from City Color, which is one of the sort of cheaper brands. I don't know if any of these are brown. Tawny. Marsala. This is Pecan. Pecan doesn't look particularly brown, however. And then this one is Cocoa. But Cocoa and Pecan don't really look brown. They look red. Should I mess with Pecan? Should I swatch them on my hand or arm? I've never used these. So this one is Cocoa, right? Oh, I guess that is a brown. Try not to get that on my shirt. And then Pecan. That definitely looks more like red. I don't know. These don't really give me the satisfying brown of our friend Iman. Let's use our beauty sponge to get this off of our wrist. This looks more like kind of brick reds. Oh God. Really I squeezed my sponge too much and it gave me a little bath on my leg, but we'll be okay. We just didn't want to end up rubbing that all over the place. But a beauty sponge to me is useful for bouncing and kind of restoring a less product kind of order. And then from here, we should get into some kind of cream blush. Look at this severity. This is Caribbean from e.l.f. I do like these blushes, and I've been trying to apply them with my silicone sponge, which definitely doesn't necessarily give the most, it's more of a buildable payoff. It's not exactly the kind of severe, kind of like one shot, you know, I feel like powders give you that more like, I just did it and it's done. Whereas this is more of a, you know, tap, respect the shape and the direction and get that on there. But what's nice is it gives you a gradient effect, so it looks more real than using a powder blush. And then you can tap that over your nose and get that on your chin, your very bright, prominent chin, and then above the eyebrow arch and up to the hairline, just for some visual unity. right? And so this is kind of like a deep kind of purple color. I don't put blush on the end of my nose. I tend to put it across the bridge and the sides of the nose. I don't hate that. You know, there was a moment of doubt. But see, this is why we need Luscious Massacre, to stop messing around with the racists and the racial slurs and all that, and get down to business. We are looking for an education. It's not good enough for you to do your makeup and then come on camera and talk about how it took you an hour. Where's our hour, ma'am? You know, I just think it's selfish. She should be making that hour available to us, not hiding it from us. You know, all that camera and all that equipment. My face itches. This little cheap brush has left hairs all over my face. Anyway, you know, she's over there hiding the secrets, and I don't appreciate it, right? This is a Teddy by MAC pencil, Eye Cold. This is apparently Meghan Markle's favorite eye pencil. So I'm just gonna draw a little line, looking in my mirror, right? Straight out from my lower lash line. That didn't give me the color payoff that I want, but it's fine. I feel like a liquid liner is just that much more bold and sharp. You know, and this formula is a little bit stiff. It's a little bit cold here, but still, you know, I wanted to do something dramatic and great, and I ended up with a little wah moment. But let's see. We have Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. I'm not really a big brow messer with her, but you know, I do think that this look deserves and needs this is breakup proof eyeliner, but then this is our good friend Lancome. We're doing kind of disposable makeup looks. We're not going anywhere except the gym. You know, it was heartening to hear Luscious Massacre talk about having a treadmill. Stamping that on, right? And then joining it to our lash line. You know, sometimes we don't need like the biggest, craziest wing. We just need a little something. And then giving it a little bit of a sharp point. How's that? And then inner corner. Stamping it on. It's not terrible. It's not great. Other side. Looking at the gesture on the other side, wanting to connect it to the lower lash line. See that? Just a stamp. And then connect it in. This isn't the best liner. I was seduced by the brand name. And this liner is much more thick and aggressive than the other side. But that's okay. You know, you're trying to talk while you do makeup. And I feel like here it has the power of extending the eye and making the eye look bigger. There's no tight lining, there's no lash, nothing, because our lashes got abused by those terrible lash extensions. We're trying to leave them alone and let them grow back. You know, but I do enjoy an inner corner flick. That went a little bit wrong. I got a little bit of the liner under my eye, but you know, I think it's better than nothing. It builds out the eye. You know, that amount of liner seems to suggest a level of drama that, you know, you can't just have that on your eye and then have nothing liner wise, right? Do we need to darken that, darken our brows or comb them or anything of that sort? You know, we have this Essence product. We can definitely brush them. At least we can brush them, right? It's like at least you can brush your hair. I don't think it makes that huge of a difference on me. I have dark brows and there's plenty of hairs and there's enough length, but you know, just to make it look organized. You know, this inner corner green is definitely reading more kind of gold and yellow, and this bright outer corner, I don't hate it. I think it's dramatic and it would look good if I had an outfit that matched. You know, a muumuu like our friend Luscious Massacre wears, a bikini, something that kind of brings out these colors, but you know, we're looking a little bit sad because our lips don't have anything on them. But I think that we can go for a lip liner. Every time I do my makeup, I can't find my favorite lip liner, and it's because I put it away. Here is Cocoa, and Cocoa I think is a better color for us than Espresso, right? Get into Cocoa, comes with its own little sharpener inside, but I don't tend to sharpen. I sharpen when there's no more product, right? But this gives us a strength to our lips. The shape is there, but we got a little, what do you call it? Got a little bit of the foundation on our lips. And we had put that very pretty gloss from e.l.f. on our lips, and then we made a TikTok. And it's called Coral Cutie. So since our eye makeup has tones of coral in it, favorite liner is going back into its home with the other lip liners. I wonder if we should stamp this on top and stop going nude, but really get into a little color. It's not nearly spring here, right? I said I hesitate to use a brush to deal with these tiny hairs. I've had a little bit of fallout of glitter on my face, but it hasn't been crazy. I still am reading that contour, and the blush is looking nice. These are the lips lined. That is the brow brushed, right? We add a little light over here, and we add a little light over here, since the sun, oh, I didn't plug that one in. The sun is going down. I don't hate the look just lined, but let's see if we can stamp on this Coral Cutie gloss from this doe foot on top of the brown. You know, some people got in trouble on TikTok for questioning who an orange lip gloss or lipstick could be for, because it wasn't for his skin tone. Another Latino gentleman. I don't know his name, but I see his work all the time. And I haven't experienced his apology, but you know, it's like just the idea that makeup isn't for you. Certainly most people of color have experienced that the undertones and the depth of color isn't quite right? What I like about the Creme Shoppe is, as a very yellow person, look at that lip. A brown liner and a coral. Tell me I'm not getting a little bit better at this. Just tell me that. I'm looking in this mirror. I'm looking at that sharpened jaw, right? I'm looking at that blushed cheek. I'm looking at that canceled out double chin. Tell me I'm not getting better at this. I am. Even if Luscious Massacre is going to keep her secrets to herself and not help me out with the information. I'm figuring it out on my own, right? I thought to myself, well, maybe I should try to do a version of what her makeup was yesterday. She had all these elaborate blue and white and sparkle lines on the lid, and I'm sure it took an hour, right? And she's a practiced drag performer and all of that, but you know, how about a little help, ma'am? You know, you just really are just going to turn your back on us like that? Is it because we're black? What's the tea, sis? we're here watching you and giving you views and likes and making comments, and you're not coming good with the makeup tutorials. And that's a problem, right? It really isn't fair, right? We're here for you. Why aren't you here for us, right? Letting us get took to the nail shop where they put all glue on my nails, letting us get took to the eyelash shop where they pulled out a good deal of my lashes, right? But, if we, with our own loving hand, can apply makeup in a way and extend our eyes and fluff our brows and shrink our foreheads and strengthen our chin through the artifice of makeup, then that's how we win. That's how we keep, people who want to say Aunt Jemima and, things about drag is not for other people but only for her. These are attitudes that are being corrected. I look forward to her comments about it, but it was disappointing to hear. But it doesn't stop the show. Look, we live in a nation governed by people who are avowed racists. It's not going to stop us, but we are going to use our voices on our platforms to call for a correction, an apology, and a change of ways. At the very least, Miss Massacre can afford to educate herself so that she doesn't stumble further, right? And, just like Jeffree Star, right? Otherwise, your makeup brushes and your makeup ends up at the bin and at TJ Maxx and TK Maxx and the fairest Paredes and wherever else. Did they erase the label from the brush or what? Listen, business is business. Don't let stupidity, ignorance, racism, or clumsy comments stop the bag. You got to keep the bag flowing. You have to help your audience with their makeup skills and keep everyone inspired to do their best, right? This isn't a run Luscious Massacre off the platform discussion. This is oh, is that why you didn't want Chime Philly talking and showing clips? Because you knew what was there? Is that what it was? I'll look forward to, Shelby E and all the other folks who are, looking and commenting. But again, I praise all of these folks because they've created interesting content, not the same old, made up baby voice BS from other creators that we've seen again and again and again. And I know it gets views, but it's, we can do better, we can do more. And certainly brown creators have an opportunity to do more on this platform. Indigenous, Latino, of whatever brown descent, whether it's India, Native American, Central and South America, Sri Lanka, just like Nicki Minaj says, all of this is incredibly valid and important, and people have jokes and outfits and all kinds of things. I have to replace this telephone and there seems to be someone hollering outside. So I'm going to take it into the kitchen. I have to make some baked brie and some apple juice from real apples. Another thing I want to encourage Luscious Massacre to, eat quality ingredients. You don't have to eat, rabbit food, but don't drink sugar in a bottle. Make your own juice from apples. Don't eat fast food. Make your own, legitimate protein and chicken and vegetables and all of that, or order it, like whatever works. But, again, 1% of change a day, one improvement, 1 minute on the treadmill, one push up is better than none. And, one second thought about racist comments, one second thought about, wow, I'm doing my makeup. Maybe Tanya from House of Tanya would like to watch and learn. 1% of improvement is enough. And with that, I'm going to turn off all the lights and put on a jacket because I'm cold. I'll see you soon. Thanks.